All right, everybody, welcome to the next game in the NBC Game of the Week. Hello, Kenyon. Good to see you. This is actually the B game for the NBC Game of the Week. The A game was Kansas City and Boston, but we just played Kansas City and Boston last week, and that was a 20-0 fiasco. So I decided to pick the B game, the one that was not done by the main broadcasting team. And this B game takes us to Cincinnati for the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cincinnati Reds. Hello, Brian B. Good to see you. But yes, it was. They had the Red Sox and Royals back-to-back NBC games of the week as their A game, but I decided to choose this as the B game. Hello, Clay. Good to see you. I decided to choose this as the B game because I didn't want to play Boston and Kansas City back-to-back weeks, especially after that 20-0 thing that we had last week. So, hoping now that we can have a good game. This game was actually played July the 29th. So the schedules with the calendar was 1978 and the calendar was 2025. Not exactly a perfect mesh, but try to get as close as we can. As we look ahead to the month of August, these are the 4 games that will be played in the month of August coming up on the NBC Game of the Week. Next week, we'll be in Candlestick Park for San Francisco and the Dodgers. 2 weeks from today, we'll be seeing these same Phillies, but they'll be at home against the Pirates. The Dodgers will again travel to the Mets on August 19th, and then finally back to the American League, we'll have California and Boston on the August 26th. So those, and I believe those are all the A games for NBC, if I'm not mistaken, because that's why I chose them. All right, so Cincinnati Reds, Philadelphia Phillies, Danny Ozark, Sparky Anderson, and these are the little things I made up to cover the cards, so that when I go to store them, I'm not putting a rubber band directly on the printed set. I've got this here, and it kind of gives a little guy, a little, what do you call it, protection, so to speak. And then on the back, I have a PDF of somebody that's not carded in the original set, and that the back-to-back cardboard there kind of keeps the cards from getting messed up. All right, so pitching matchup, Paul Moskow for the Cincinnati Reds against Jim Lonborg of the Phillies. Hello, Colin. Good to see you. That is the pitching matchup for today's game. I've got the score sheet printed right here. There you see the Phillies lineup. It's Maddox, Boa, Schmidt, Luzinski, Hebner, Martin Boone, Sizemore, and Lonborg. Pretty standard lineup for the Phillies. And then for the Reds, pretty standard lineup as well. Rose, Griffey, Morgan, Foster, Dreesen, Bench, Concepcion, Geronimo, and Moskow. And, of course, here you got your benches and bullpens. Phillies have one extra relief pitcher. Reds have one extra bench player. So they both have the same amount of guys on the bench. They both have 11 guys on their bench. It's just a matter, it's 6 and 5 here, 7 and 4 here. That's just the way the roster's shaped up. I guess Sparky wanted more flexibility with his pinch hitting and defensive options, and the Phillies wanted more pitching. So that's just the way it goes. All right, first things first, of course, we go to Riverfront Stadium. I did print out the correct stadium this time. And we're going to do our weather check. This game technically, is, even though we're on August 2nd today, is still technically in July, a day game, 72 degrees. But if we get a roll that's going to be 13 or more with these 3 dice, then we'll add 1 to warm weather to help the balls fly out of Riverfront Stadium on deep drives. And we do in fact get that. We get a 15, so that's going to make the temperature now 87 degrees. So we are at a +1 for the deep drive. So anything that's a deep drive, we'll add 1 to the final result, and that will give us the final result. Again, you can do rain. Since it's the NBC game of the week, I don't want to mess with it. If I was doing like a season replay or something, I might do something like that, but I'd rather just keep it simple as possible. I'm still learning the game in a lot of ways, so really the fewer things I have to keep track of, the better for me, as it turns out. All right, so I guess it's pronounced Moscow. I'm guessing that's how I always pronounced it. I'm assuming that's the way it's pronounced. Brian B., you're kind of the Reds expert. If it's pronounced some other way, let me know. phonetically in the comments, or else I'm just going to call him Moscow like Russia. That's the way I've always heard it pronounced. All right, got my rule book right here with me. So, and my what I call cheat sheets or starter guides for stealing bases and getting jumps and challenging the runners. Quick start, that's the official title for it. So Moscow was correct. All right, well, we'll go for it then. All right, leading things off will be Gary Maddox. The old saying was that 2/3 of the earth was covered by water. The other third was covered by Gary Maddox. All right, here we go. Moscow to Maddox. And right off the bat, we get a not a rare play, but a fielding result, 5-10. So that's an easy play for Moscow, as Maddox just grounds it right back to the mound for an easy out. I saw that. I first looked at it at 5:01. So, not a rare play on the first play. But no, we're not going to have a rare play. It's a ground out to Moscow, and there's one away. Here's Larry Bowa. 121, and that's a redirect to a 321. 321 is going to be a base hit for Larry Bowa. How about that? Bowa says, take that redirect. So he gets the redirect to an infield single. He is at first base. Let's see, stole 27 bases, so he might very well be looking to get the lead here. Moscow, a pretty good hold rating of 7. Hello, Doug. Pretty good hold rating of 7. We're going to take the steal rating of Bowa, which is only a 1, so it'll be tough for him to get the jump. He needs these 5 dice to basically total 16 or higher to get the jump. And they'll get stacked on top of each other. How many times does that happen? That looks like a re-roll to me. Re-roll to me right there. He's stacking on top of each other. It's a 10, so he's not going to get the jump because that's only an 11, and he's got to match 17. So Bowa will have to hold as Moscow holds him closely. And here's Michael Jack Schmidt. That's a 328, and Schmidt non-split is a strikeout. So 2 away, first strikeout for Moscow. And that brings up the bull, Greg Luzinski. All right. That's right. You're correct, Captain. I just need to roll the 2, not the 3. The 3 is when you steal. So, all right. He unfortunately didn't get the lead anyway, so it didn't matter. Let's see, 643. So go to our ballpark chart. There's a visiting team, so there's no advantage there. It's just a 4-3 ground. Actually, a 4-6 fielder's choice because there is a runner on first. So that's how they're going to end it. A 4-6 fielder's choice. I'm telling you, when I don't play this game but once a week, sometimes the little simple things can bite you when I've got other rules on the brain. That's what happens when you play multiple games. But very soon I will be downsizing to mainly just one game. And that will help, I think. All right, so Pete Rose will be stepping to the plate against venerable pitcher Jim Lonborg, back from the Red Sox heydays in the 60s. Lonborg, near the end of his career, he's 8-10 with a 5.23 earned run average. Correct, Colin. Yes, correct. Yes. All right, here is Lonborg to Rose. 150. How about that? 150 right off the bat is a walk. So Lonborg is going to issue a free pass to Pete Rose. He's aboard. Rose, well, his steal's a 5 and Lonborg's a 5. He stole 13 bases, but he got caught 9 times. And if you look at Boone's arm, Boone's got a 6 arm, and his speed's only a 3. So I don't think we're going to try to get the jump with him. I think we're going to leave him there and let the big red machine try to drive some runs home. Here's Ken Griffey. 605, but you add 10 because of the home team, so it makes it 615. Still might not matter. That is a pop out to second. Actually, it did matter. 605 would have been a double play. 615 just pops it up to second for out number 1. So they avoid the double play by being the home team, and that's one of the ways that home field advantage is factored into this game. Here's Joe Morgan, Little Joe they call him, on the downside of his career right now. His best days are long since gone. 384. And that is a deep fly to center field for out number 2. 2 down. And I'm assuming the run on first cannot move up, even though it's a plus. Or is that everybody? No, just second and third. Okay. Got it. So I didn't think the run on first would tag up. So 2 down for George Foster. 40 home runs. Not the 52 he hit in 77, but he did hit 40. It's still a threat. 213 for Lonborg against a right-hander is a redirect to a 413. And a 413 is a 6-4 fielder's choice. Would have been a double play, but there are already 2 outs. So that will end the inning as they force Rhodes at second base. So at the end of 1, we have no score from Riverfront Stadium. And that'll send up Richie Hebner, the gravedigger. He used to be a gravedigger in real world as an off-season employment back in the day when the players didn't make a lot of money. His off-season job was literally digging graves. That's why they call him the gravedigger. Richie Hebner. Near the end of his career as well. 256 against the lefty. That's a deep drive to right field by Richie Hebner. Remember, we're going to add 1 because of the warm weather. So Richie Hebner's power is a 7. So we're going to roll on the deep drive to right, add the 2 blue and white dice to the 7, then add 1 more to it at the end. So that's a 9. So that makes it a 16, but you add 1 more, it's a 17. And that extra heat causes the home run. That +1 gives him the home run because of the warm weather. The ball flying out of Riverfront Stadium. That warm weather boosted it. Would have been a 16 otherwise, but the home run is there for Richie Hebner because of the warm weather. Ball's flying out in the summertime in Riverfront Stadium. So Richie Hebner goes deep, and the Phillies lead it 1-0. Brian B., that's going to be on the shelf for a while, I'm afraid. I'm really getting frustrated with this. I mean, you can see I haven't even played the Sparky Bowl game yet. I keep delaying it because there's just something about inside pitch that's just driving me crazy. So, all right, here is Jerry. I'm not ending it. I'm just setting it to the side and see what happens. But all right, here is Jerry Martin. 622, and that's going to pop up to second base for out number 1. So that brings up Bob Boone, the catcher. That's a 145, and that will be a fly ball to right field for out number 2. And that brings up Sizemore. 280. 280. Sizemore is a right-handed hitter. 280 is a deep drive to left field. But Sizemore has 0 power. So we'll give him a 1 for the hot weather, and then we'll add it to the 2 D10s and check the deep drive to left. That's going to be a 13, so we add 1 to makes it a 14. 14 is a fly ball to left, and that's going to end the inning. So Moscow put 2 in the primary zone, and 1 he got away with and 1 he didn't. Home run from Richie Hebner gives the Phillies a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the second. And, of course, if you are an inside pitch fan, you have all the inside pitch you can handle from RJL Network. He's putting games out pretty much every night, so you'll always be able to see inside pitch. All right, here is Danny Dreesen. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of people playing Stratomatic on YouTube anymore. Very few. Very few. All right, here's Dan Dreesen. 639, but we're going to add 10 to it. Makes it 649. Still going to be a ground ball to third, where Schmidt will handle it. 1 away. That'll bring up Johnny Bench. It's a 493 on Bench. He's facing Lonborg, a righty. So that's going to be a strikeout. If he was facing a lefty, it'd have been a deep drive. But since he's facing a righty, it's a strikeout. First strikeout for Lonborg. Out number 2, and here is Concepcion. 618 becomes a 628. 628 is a pop up to short. Boa is there, and the inning's over. So hopefully we'll get a decent game today and not a 20-0 blowout like we had last week. I'm assuming that was just a rare anomaly and not the norm, because most of our games on the NBC game week have been pretty good as far as being close. All right, so the pitcher batting card for Lonborg. Lonborg is there to hit. We're going to see if he uses his eye rating or his contact rating, or if it comes off Moscow. All right, so it's a 493, so we're using the eye rating. Lonborg's eye rating is a 3. So we go to 3 on the eye rating and look at 493, and that is a fly ball to left field. Fly ball to left, or is it to right field? Let's see. Lefty batters use result after the slash. So that's weird. It's going, according to this, it's going opposite field. I don't know if Clay, if you're still watching, if that's true or not. I'm reading this 493 under number 3, F9, F7. It's a right-handed batter in Lonborg, but it looks like it's saying here that the lefty batters would go opposite field and the righty batters would go opposite field. I'm not sure if it's an F9, so he's actually going opposite field. It's not. I'm thinking it's a pull, but it's really opposite field. Okay. All right. Works for me. I just want to make sure I got it right. That's what I care about. That's good to know, Clay. I figured you did your research on it. I wasn't doubting the research. I was just making sure. I was doubting my reading of the rules, but reading the cards, it made sense. So, all right, here is Gary Maddox. 341 against a 341's non-split. That is going to be a fly to right again for out number 2. 2 down for Mr. Boa. That is a 408 against a right-hander. 408 is going to be a pop-up to third, and that's going to end the inning. So Moscow, much better this inning. Well, he wasn't bad last inning. He just gave up the one long ball, and that was a large part, well, almost completely due to the warm weather, giving it an extra boost. So we go to the bottom of the third, and here is Cesar Geronimo. He will lead off, followed by Moscow and Rose. That's a 673, but it becomes a 683 with the home team batting. 683 is a base hit. 673 would have also been a base hit, but this one's a leadoff single for Cesar Geronimo, and that's going to allow Moscow to set up for a bunt. So now I've got to remember how to bunt. Sure, it can't be that hard. So I'm just going to have to go to my quick play chart for the bunts and make sure I get it right. All right, the bunt rating on Moscow. Let's look at his card. He's a bunt rating of 6. So bunt rating is a 6. So we're going to add the 3 dice together plus his bunt rating. Roll the 3 dice and add it for his bunt rating. All right, that is a 15. We're going to add the 6, makes it a 21. 21, it says good bunt, runners out, or batter out, runners advance. Sacrifices 1 to 3. All right, so the bunt is put down very well. And going to second base is Geronimo on the good sacrifice. Only play Lonborg has was to go to first. There is one away. But now with the runner in scoring position, the tying run is in scoring position for Pete Rose. We get a 341 non-split, and that's a 6-4 ground out. Makes it a 6-3 ground out. Runner's going to hold. So Rose grounds out for out number 2. And that'll be up to Ken Griffey to get the run home. Griffey popped to second his first time. 491, and that is, he's just going to miss a deep drive. 492 would have been a deep drive, but 491 is a fly to center, and the inning is over. So he, as Maxwell Smart would say, missed it by that much, but didn't quite get it. Yes, I have a strange sense of humor, and I used to love that show as a kid. Thought Don Adams was a comical genius. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that Mel Brooks? Wasn't he the creator of that? And you know, Mel Brooks has a very unique sense of humor already. So we go to the fourth, and it is 3-0. And of course, most of us teenage boys really had a thing for 99, but that's a whole nother story. Here, and I used to love the Cone of Silence. That was probably my favorite thing they had was the Cone of Silence. All right, here's Moscow to Schmidt. That's a 595, so we got a defensive check for the right fielder, who is Griffey. 595 is a fly ball to right field, so that's going to be out number 1. And Schmidt flies out deep to right field, 1 down. Thank you, Chuck. I didn't know. I'd never heard of Buck Henry. I knew about Mel Brooks, but anyway, here's Luzinski. Didn't mean to get off on the side topic of Get Smart. 230, and that's going to be against a right-hander. That's a strikeout. He would have walked a lefty, but he struck out a righty. So there's, again, where the splits come in. I think all legitimate baseball games should have splits in them, factored somewhere or another. They don't have to be over the top, but they need to at least count for something. All right, here's Hebner. He homered his first time up. He won't homer this time. 237 against a left-hander is a fly to right field, and that's going to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the fourth. Still 1-0 favor of those Philadelphia Phillies, those National League East defending National League East champions in 77. Of course, they're looking to repeat in 88. All right, Little Joe steps to the plate. .390 for Little Joe is a non-split, and that is a fly to center field. .397 would have been a home run, but .390 is just going to be a fly right. He only hit 13 home runs, so his power was starting to go away a little bit. Not like those years he had in 75 and 76 when he hit over 20 home runs. Speaking of home runs, here's Foster. 609 turns to 619 with the home team batting, and that's going to be a pop-up to second base where Mr. Sizemore will take care of it. 2 down. So Lonborg keeping the Reds at bay so far. That is a 389, and that's non-split, so that will be a 4-3 ground out to end the inning. So Lonborg making quick work of the Reds, and we've already played 4 innings. It is 1-0. They only run the home run from Richie Hebner. Both pitchers pitching pretty well. Moscow now is in fatigue because his starting stamina is only a 4. Same with Lonborg. So these pitchers are going to need relief. I think Jim Cott pitched about 3 innings of relief in Real World, so we'll probably get him ready for the Phillies. Maybe I'll let Brian B. figure out who he wants in the bullpen for the Reds. All right, Moscow to Martin. 207. 207 is a redirect to a 407, and that's going to be a base on balls. So Jerry Martin will draw a leadoff walk. Leadoff walk to Jerry Martin. He stole 9 bases, got caught 5 times, but we'll leave him alone. We'll let him stay there. Moscow, 168. Non-split is another walk. So back-to-back base on balls issued by Moscow. So he is definitely in some trouble. The only benefit is he's got the bottom of the order coming up with Sizemore and Lonborg, the pitcher, so might catch a break because of that. They really need a double play ball is what they need. 237 And that's going to be against a right-handed hitter. That's a line drive to first. If I read this correctly, it's a line drive to first, and the runner on first is doubled off. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that, but the way I read this is a line drive to first. R1 exclamation point to me means the guy on first is doubled off. If that's wrong, somebody let me know, or if it's right, somebody confirm. But I think that's the ruling there on that 237. Line drive double play. Thank you, Clay. 2 down. So that helps Moscow out quite a bit. Sizemore lined it to Perez, and Boone had no chance to get back. And he is out 3 unassisted on the double play. So 2 down, and now we're to the pitcher card, Lonborg. And again, we'll put his card here and see if he needs the eye or the contact, or whether we go off Moscow. We're going to go off Moscow, so it doesn't matter. 188, that is a fly to left. Boy, 189 would have been a bloop single, but a 188 is a fly to left. That Moscow gets out of the jam. He got out of the jam. And now we go to the bottom half of the 5th. That might be Moscow's last inning. We shall see. He is scheduled to bat 4th. So Brian B., if you want to look over the bench for the Reds and tell me who you might want to use as a pinch hitter and bullpen arm going forward for the next inning, you can let me know that. Right now, here is Johnny Bench, because Moscow he's already pitched 1 inning into his fatigue number. Lonborg, 481, and that's a non-split chance. 481 is a fly to center field by Bench. 1 away. 1 down for Concepcion. 518, that's trouble for Lonborg. 518, that's going to get past him for a single. So Concepcion with a 1-out single brings up Cesar Geronimo. Concepcion did steal 23 bases, but I think they're going to hold him there. Here is Geronimo. 190, and a 190 is a bloop single, but with less than 2 outs, that's an automatic 1-base advancement, because the runner had to wait and make sure that ball wasn't going to get caught. So Concepcion couldn't go very much farther. He only could go to second base. Now first and second, 1 out, pitcher spot due up. We're going to have Mike Lum come in to pinch hit for Moscow. So that will do it for Moscow. Mike Lum, a lefty. And we'll get his card out. Mike Lum hit 267 on the 78 season. And Manny Sarmiento is loosening in the bullpen for the Reds. So Sarmiento will come in and pitch the 6th inning. Any run scored by the Reds in this inning belong to Moscow, so he still has a chance to win it. I mean, he can lose it, but he also has a chance to win it. But we shall see what happens here with Mike Lum against Lonborg. .662 becomes a 672. 672 is a bloop single. So once again, a base hit, but less than 2 outs. The runners had to hold. So there we go. Bases are now loaded. Pinch hit single from Mike Lum loads the bases with 1 out. And Pete Rose is the batter. Now I'm trying to remember. He's given up 3 hits. Does that mean that I already have a plus? All right, it's plus 20. Okay, that's what I thought. All right, so 6. So is it 6 plus 20 or plus 30? Because it's a 662, but the home team's batting makes it 672. So it is a plus 30. Okay, that's what I thought. So that's a 692. 692 is a double. So how about that? It's not going to be a bloop single. It's going to be a double. And now I got to reconstruct. We had runners on first and second, so 1 run's going to score automatically. That's going to be it for Lonborg for sure. 1 run's going to score automatically, and that is Concepcion. He will score. Let's see now. So Lum with the double. Let's see if Geronimo will score the double on the chart. I don't believe you can challenge on this because there's no fielder given. So I don't think you can challenge on this. I think it's just a 2-base advancement, but somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking since it's the center fielder and there's no center fielder listed, there's no challenge because there's no fielding position listed. Okay, I was right. All right, well, that's going to do it for Lonborg. He is done. He has given up the tying run and is responsible for the 2 guys that are on. So Lonborg is only going to go 4 1/3. And we're going to get Jim Kitty Cott coming into the ball game for the Phillies. He did relieve in this game real world. He was 8-5 with a 4.10 ERA. And let's see here. Second and third, rather, with 1 out. And Pete Rose is your batter. Infield is going to come in, try to choke the runoff. Let's get the numbers on Lonborg before I get too far into the rest of the game. 1, 2, 3. I've got him giving up 4 hits. Check his walks and strikeouts. He walked Pete Rose to lead off the game. That was his only walk. And he struck out Bench, and that was his only strikeout. So I can't close the runs on him, but he went 4 1/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. So far, 1 run, but he's responsible for both of these guys on base. So we can't close the book on him yet. Infield is in. Jim Cott will turn Pete Rose around to bat right-handed. Hello, Ernest. Good to see you. That's a good way to look at it, Clay. Definitely is. That's right, Brian B. You won't see pinch hitters being used systematically and methodically on that other channel with the groans and the cheers. All right, we got a 224. Rose switching to batting right-handed. 224 is a 1-6-3 double play, but with the infield in, to me, it's just a 1. It's hit right back to the pitcher, so the infielders are going to freeze, or the runners are going to freeze, have to hold for out number 2. And if I did that wrong, somebody let me know. But I think, yeah, barfs. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, but to me, it's hit right back to the pitcher. So you're not going to send the runner in that situation. So 2 down, and here comes Ken Griffey, lefty on lefty matchup. At the 423, Griffey against the lefty. 423 is a ground ball to second, and that's going to end the inning. So Jim Cott does the job, keeps the Reds from taking the lead, but they do break through and tie the game. Jim Lonborg will get a no decision, as will Moscow. But Moscow is now off the hook. The game is now in the hands of the bullpen. So Manny Sarmiento will be coming on. He will be the new pitcher for the Reds. And he will take on the top of the order, Maddox, Boa, and Schmidt. Top of the 6th. 1-1 ball game. Oh, double switch. My bad. Hold on. Lum will stay in the game to play right field. All right. And Griffey's going to come out, and Sarmiento will move into the number 2 position. All right. Got that fixed on my score sheet. So let me bring Mike Lum back. I'd put him to the side, but Mike Lum's coming back to play right field, and Ken Griffey is going to get the rest of the game off. So that puts the pitcher spot 9 spots away from batting, which will allow Sarmiento, who's got a relief of 2, he might be able to pitch 3 innings possibly. You never can tell. All right. So it is Gary Maddox to start us off. 299, and that is a deep drive to left field for Gary Maddox. His power is a 5, but we're +1 with the warm weather, makes it a 6. So we're going to add 6 to whatever we get here on that deep drive to left field. In this column, we're going to add 6 to the 2D10s, get a final result. That's a 12. It's a total of 18. That's a home run. Gary Maddox greets Manny Sarmiento with a home run to start off the top of the sixth. Inauspicious beginnings for Manny Sarmiento. As Maddox goes deep on the deep drive. Didn't even need the warm weather because he had a 17 would have been enough to get it out of there too. So home run, and it's a 2-1 game, Phillies. And already there's a section, Brian B section, saying rigged. Sarmiento 139. This time he gets them to pop it up to second. So Boa is out. One down. We've had 2 solo home runs by the Phillies. That's been their runs. Here's Schmidt. Speaking of home runs, that's a 540. Should be a very easy play for Joe Morgan, that 5-4-0, and it is. Would have been a double play if anybody was on first, but just a standard 4-3 pedestrian ground out. And Greg Luzinski. There's a 306, and that is a strikeout for Luzinski. But the Phillies take the lead on the Gary Maddox home run. We go to the bottom of the sixth, and we are sitting with Phillies 2 and Reds 1. Cott back out, and Cott will be facing Morgan, Foster, and Dreesen. Morgan, Foster, and Dreesen. 130, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field. Whoops, fly ball to right field for Morgan. Accidentally wrote that in the Phillies score sheet area. So, white. Good thing we got correction tape. I need it. I like that better than whiteout. It's less messy. All right, here's George Foster. 116, and that's going to be a 3-1 ground out. As Hebner fields it, flips to Cott covering for out number 2. And that brings up Danny Dreesen. So Cott, talk about doing the job. He's faced 4 batters and got them all out and didn't allow the inherited runners. 5, that's trouble. 597 could be bad. Right fielder for the Phillies is Jerry Martin. So we'll check Jerry Martin on the 597, and that's going to be a double. A double for Dan Dreesen, a 2-out double off the bat of Dreesen. And now the Reds have the tying run in scoring position with 2 outs. Turns into what they say is a clutch situation for Johnny Bench, the ultimate professional and arguably the best catcher who ever played the game. No arguments from me on that one. It's the best catcher in my lifetime that I've ever seen. I didn't see Yogi Berra or some of those other guys, but he was top dog when I was a youngster, that's for sure. All right, so Cott facing Bench. 341. Bench will strike out to end the inning, so Cott gets out of it. Gives up the 2-out double, but nothing else. And we now go to the 7th inning. 2-1 Phillies. They hang on to that lead. It'll be Hebner, Martin, and Boone due up for the Phillies here in the top of the 7th. Wow, Joel, that's quite an endeavor. That is one season for me that Strat, if they redid 75 in Super Advanced, that would be an instant purchase for me, but they seem to want to do red and blue colored all-star teams or something. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're some of their business models, like I say, are baffle me. Love the game, not sure about the direction the company's going. All right, here's Sarmiento, 203. There's a redirect to a 403, and that'll be a walk. So Richie Hebner draws a walk. And I don't think I'm in the minority on that, on those thoughts, but maybe I am. But I don't know. All right, here's Jerry Martin. 379. Let's get this debris off. What is on this D10 here? Something got on there. Oh, what got on there? 379 from Martin is a base hit, infield single. So let's go put runners at first and second with nobody out. First and second, nobody out for Bob Boone. Booney steps to the plate. You would think about bunting here, but we're near the bottom of the order. If he bunts, then you turn it over to much lesser hitters, Sizemore and the pitcher spot, Cott. So I think they're going to have Boone swing away. 684 might have been a good move. 684 is a single plus, so that's going to score the run and move the runner from first to third. Phillies take a 3-1 lead. Sarmiento getting knocked around a bit. RBI single from Boone. That's why you don't bunt. Plain and simple. I go back to, if you saw the movie Moneyball, when they're in the locker room talking, and Brad Pitt's like, if they're going to give you a bunt, thank them and just let them roll it on out there and give you that out. So, all right. So Sizemore is up to the plate. Sarmiento. Let's see. Brian B., are we playing the infield in or are we playing back? It's now 3-1 Phillies, first and third, nobody out. Sizemore at bat and then Cott on deck. Infield is in. We're going to let Cott hit because I want to keep him pitching. So Cott will do something. He'll bunt or do something. I don't know what he'll do. Infield is in. 328, and 328 is an infield hit, so it doesn't matter. The run's going to score on an infield hit by Ted Sizemore. 2 runs are in this inning. Scoring is Martin. Going to second is Boone. And it's now 4-1 Phillies, and now we're in a prime spot for Cott to bunt. His bunt rating is only a 3, but still, I think you got to try it. The runner on third going on contact. I assume so. I mean, that would make sense to me. It's a ground ball. I don't see any reason why he would hold, Clay. I guess my rule is they go on contact unless I say otherwise. Unless I say he's going to hold for precautionary reasons. So that is a good thought. I see these little details that don't come up in my mind when I don't play the game that often. So, but seasoned veterans of season ticket baseball would have thought of that. All right, so Cott is going to bunt. That is a total of 6. This may not be a good bunt. 6, and his bunt rating's a 3 for a total of 9. And it says here, soft line out, lead runner doubled off. That's with 2 strikes, I think. So I think here is he going to? This is where I'm getting confused. The first roll here is a 9. Does that mean he misses, or is it just a bad bunt where it's a double play? I'm reading this out to be a double play. L1 RX. So I'm thinking lead runner is doubled up. So you're saying it's a bad. So in this case, it looks like he bunts it in the air to Manny Sarmiento. He fields it in the air, and they double off the lead runner, Bob Boone, from second base for a double play. Is that accurate? That's the way I'm reading it. So we'll go 1 and then 1 to 6 for a double play. Okay, the miss is only from 1 through 7. You got it. All right, so it's a double play. Not a good bunt from Cott. Obviously, he's not a good bunt. He doesn't have a good bunt rating anyway. So it's liner to first, and then Boone is out on the double play, 1 to 6. So there's 2 outs. But they need Cott's pitching, so they don't want to take him out of there. They've got the lead 4-1, so they're going more for pitching than they are for offense. So Gary Maddox is up with 2 outs and Sizemore at first. 5-0-2. So we got a rare play. How about that? Just what we needed, a rare play with a runner on base. 5-0-2 with a runner on base. So we go to our rare play. Runner on first. Let's see here. Always have to remember which one I'm using. Runner on first, so that means it looks like I'm using page 30 to 33. It's not less than 2 outs. Or with 2 outs, I'm using page 35, it looks like. Page 35. So I'm following this flow, 2 outs over to here. So kind of like a flow chart. I'm going here for 2 outs, and I'm going across, and it's telling me to use page 35. So we're going to page 35 for the rare play. All right. And actually, this is going to pretty much encompass everything, I think. So here we go for the rare play. We get a 224. 224. E1 pitchers pickoff throw sails into the stands. R1 is awarded second base. Well, there you go. So Sarmiento tried to pick him off. He throws it over. He airmails Dreesen. And Sizemore will take second on the E1 from Sarmiento. So Maddox still at bat with 2 outs. Runner now at second. 6:27. That should end the inning. 6:27 is a pop-up to Concepcion at short, and the inning is over. So Sarmiento giving up 2 runs here in the top of the 7th. And the Phillies find themselves now ahead 4-1. 4-1. Coming up for the Reds, it will be Concepcion, Geronimo, and Lum to face Jim Cott. So let me get my cards together here, make sure nobody's out of place. All right, so Jim Cott will be on the mound. And leading things off will be Mr. Concepcion. 4-1 Phillies. As we head to the bottom of the 7th, and of course, now that we're at the bottom of the 7th, that can only mean one thing, and that is take me out to the ball game. So, stretch with me if you wish. I'm going to take a quick stretch break and get ready for the rest of the game, but for now, we're going to turn it over to Take Me Out to the Ball Game. All right, we are back from the 7th inning stretch. See if the Reds can put their rally caps on. Robert says tonight, an inside pitch in his 1999 replay. We got Tampa Bay at the White Sox from Comiskey Park. That will be tonight. Concepcion. Yeah, Marlon, that was actually painful yesterday. I have to admit that. It was painful. I tried to give a good face for it and be positive about it, but I think my frustrations came out at the end and my true feelings came out at the end, but that's okay. To each their own. All right, here is Concepcion. It's a 163, and that's going to be a wild pitch, so it's just a ball one. Whoa, dropped it here. 641 becomes 651 with the home team. 651 is a 5-3 ground out right to Mike Schmidt, one away. So we got two lefties coming up, Geronimo and Lum. Brian B., do you want to stick with those guys or bring in a right-handed pinch hitter maybe for one of them? I don't know, or both. You got Collins, a switch hitter. You got Henderson, a switch hitter, can play the outfield. You got Knight, Kennedy, Carell, Auerbach. All those guys are right-handed. Stick with Cesar, all right. 620, so that becomes 630, and that will be a pop-up to short. Pop up to short, out number 2. So with 2 outs and the base is empty, I'm assuming you'll let Lum hit. 2 outs, base is empty, nobody on. There's not much he can do, I don't believe. Unless you want to bring in somebody to pinch it for Lum. All right, Lum's going to hit for himself. 352. 352 non-split is a ground ball to second, and that's going to end the inning. So Cott has really pitched well in relief of Lonborg. Cott now would be subject to fatigue, but he hasn't given up anything, so he hasn't had to worry about fatigue yet. Are we sticking with? I'm assuming we're sticking with Sarmiento. He bats second next inning, so I'm assuming we're sticking with Sarmiento. It'll be Boa, Schmidt, and Luzinski, heart of the order. .611 for Boa is a strikeout. So Boa out on strikes. One away, and that's going to bring up Michael Jack Schmidt. 698, that's trouble. 698 is a walk, so did not go to deep drive. It's just a walk. So Schmidt walks with 1 out. Not the worst thing in the world to walk him. Here's Luzinski. .395, and that is going to be a deep fly to right field. .397 would have been a home run, but this is a deep fly to right for out number 2. Whoops, he stays at first base. He didn't go anywhere. And Richie Hebner. .606, and 606 will be a strikeout again. So Sarmiento strikes him out to end the inning. That's going to be all for Sarmiento. So we'll get the numbers on Sarmiento. Sarmiento goes 2. I didn't even get the numbers from Moscow. I need to finish him off. I'm slacking on the job here. Let's see here. Sarmiento goes 3 innings. Gives up 2 runs. They were earned. Actually, he gives up 3 runs. My bad. 3 runs they were earned. And he is subject to take the loss. He gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Walked 2. Gave up the home run to Maddox to start his outing. Struck out 3. Moscow went 5 innings. Gave up just the 1 run, which was the homer to Hebner. He walked 2. Struck out 2. Gave up 1, 2, just 2 hits. All right. I believe Cott's day is just about done as well, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. Right now, we're heading to the bottom of the 8th. I guess we'll let Cott go 1 more inning. Like I said, Sarmiento will be replaced for a pinch hitter. Auerbach to hit for Sarmiento and Bourbon in the 9th. Good enough. Auerbach to hit, and Bourbon will be coming in to pitch the 9th. So let's get those players. So Rick Auerbach will be the pinch hitter. And Pedro Bourbon will be the relief pitcher in the 9th. So Bourbon will pitch the 9th. But pinch hitting for Sarmiento, well, first it's going to be Rose, but the second batter is going to be Auerbach, as he will pinch hit for Sarmiento following Rose. So it's going to be Rose, Auerbach, and Morgan for the Reds against Jim Cott. Philly bullpen has Ron Reed and Raleigh Eastwick. Actually, they have Raleigh Eastwick. They're going to try to rub salt in the Reds' wounds with a former Red and bring up Raleigh Eastwick. So Eastwick is loosening in the Philly bullpen. Pete Rose will lead it off here against Cott. That's a 142, and that's a fly to right field. So boy, Cott has just been untouchable. Just given up. He has faced 10 batters. He's given up one hit. That's it. One base runner is reached. That's been it. So here's the pinch hitter, Auerbach. He was a 327 hitter real world. 641 becomes 651. And that's still going to be a ground ball to Schmidt at third for 2 quick outs. And down goes Auerbach. So Kitty Cott looking to be the winner. Morgan, 589. That's trouble even for Gary Maddox with that blue 9. I don't even think Maddox can cover that, and he can't. That's going to be a single. So 2-out single for Joe Morgan as he hit it somewhere even Gary Maddox couldn't cover. So Morgan's aboard for George Foster. 257 against a right-hander. 257 is a redirect to a 567. So that's to Mike Schmidt. That's to the shortstop Boa. 567, and a 567 is going to be a single to left field. So that's going to put runners at first and second. We're not going to challenge any arms because you're down by 3 runs. It just doesn't make any sense. He's already in scoring position at second base, so why bother? Why risk it? Just wouldn't make good sense. So that brings up Dreesen. Dreesen now. Forgot to move, so there are 2 outs. Lefty on lefty, Cott against Dreesen. 652 becomes 662. 662 is a 3-1 ground out. But do I have to add something to that? Because he's in his fatigue and he's got 2 base runners on. So I'm thinking we should add 20 more to that because of the base runners that are on base, because he is past his 2 innings. So I'm thinking that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but somebody can confirm and correct that. So to me, that should be a 682. I should be adding 30, 20 for the base runners and 10 for the home team. But before I move further, I want to make sure that's accurate. I'm believing it should be 682, and I should look at it. Yep. Okay, there we go. So 682, and that will change things because that makes it a single plus. So that will score the runner and send the other one to third, and that's going to be it for Cott. They don't want to have him keep going and give up these fatigue hits. So base hit for Dan Dreesen. Scoring is Morgan. All this with 2 outs. Going to third is Foster. And that's going to do it. Ron Reed is being summoned in from the bullpen for the Phillies. Cott gave him a lot. Gave him pretty good. They were going to go to Eastwick, but it's a critical situation, so they don't want to mess around. They're going with their closer, or one of their closers, Ron Reed. He had the most saves, so I guess he technically was their closer, although McGraw did some closing too. So Ron Reed is coming on to pitch. And he'll be facing Johnny Bench with 2 outs and runners at the corners. Ron Reed. Cott will go, let's see, 1, 2, 2 2/3, 3 1/3 innings for Cott. He's going to give up 4 hits. So far, just the 1 run, no walks, and 1 strikeout. He's still in line to get the win. And now we'll see what Ron Reed does with Johnny Bench. You want to see if Dreesen can get a jump? All right, let's check Dreesen's numbers here. His let's look at his steal rating is a 4, hold rating is a 1, so that's pretty good. He's got a chance to get the jump here. That is a 9, so 9, and the steal rating is a 13, so that surpasses that. He does get the lead. The arm on Boone, I believe, was a 6, but I'll double check it. I believe he was a 6. Where are you at, Bob Boone? There he is. He's hiding. Bob Boone's arm is a 6. Okay. His speed is a 5. So these 3 dice plus the 5 have to equal or better 16. So he has to have 11 total or higher on here to get the lead, to get the successful steal. And he does. It's a stolen base for Dan Dreesen. So Dreesen's in scoring position. Now a base hit by Bench could tie the game. So stolen base Dreesen gets him into scoring position. They could walk Bench and face Concepcion, but I don't like that option either. Concepcion is a 301 hitter, Bench only 260, so we're going to go after Bench. Second and third, 2 outs, bottom of the 8th, in what is now a 4-2 game, but the tying runs are in scoring position. This is definitely a clutch situation. Larry Harris wants me to walk Bench. You want me to walk Bench and walk the bases loaded and pitch to a hitter that's 40 points higher in Concepcion? Is that what you are asking for? If you want me to walk Bench, I will. I'm not sure it's a smart move, but if you want me to do it, I'll do it. Okay, we'll walk Bench. We'll give him the free pass, intentional walk, and face Concepcion. That puts the go-ahead run on base. I agree, Brian. I wouldn't have. The steal never crossed. Of course, I'm trying to concentrate on playing the game, so some of the strategy stuff I'm not thinking of. But yeah, I wouldn't have thought to steal like that. But that was a good move because it put the tying run in scoring position. I will give you props for that. All right, so Reed to Concepcion, bases loaded, 2 outs in a 4-2 game. That's a 451, and against right-handers, 451 is a strikeout. So he strikes out Concepcion, and Larry Harris comes through with a good manager move of walking Bench to get out of the inning. Now on a 451 on the bench, that would have been a double to left field. So Larry Harris, you get the prize on that one because 451 on Bench's card would have been a double to left field. And that would have been a tie game. But 451 on Concepcion was a strikeout. So it worked out with the intentional walk. Again, that's another move I would not have thought to make. But sometimes when you're playing the game and you're trying to concentrate on everything, sometimes the strategies don't always come to you where if you're just watching the game, they probably would. All right, but still brilliant managing. And we got some brilliant viewers in this ball game. These are some smart baseball guys that know their onions and know when to make the proper moves. All right, so speaking of proper moves, I guess Pedro Borbon is now in for the Reds. Now, he's only a 1 stamina. I'm assuming, Brian B., that you would not double switch here because we're going to have Borbon, if he stays in his current number 2 spot, he'd be 4 batters away from hitting. But you could double switch if you wanted to, I guess. The last out was made. I don't think you could double switch with Dreesen maybe to push him down the order and bring in somebody else to play first base, it's up to you, or I can just leave it as is. Okay, his fatigue's only a 1, so it's probably a 1-inning pitcher anyway. All right, so Bourbon will be facing Martin, Boone, and Sizemore. If anybody gets on, probable pinch hitter for Reed, and they would bring in McGraw to finish it. So Bourbon to Martin. That's a 587. That's trouble for even Geronimo. And that's going to be a double. That high blue die kills him. 587 is a double off of Geronimo. So Geronimo can't quite get it, as he is unable to track that thing down. So Jerry Martin, a leadoff double. And that'll bring up Bob Boone. So Booney, these cards hard to get a hold of sometimes. Bob Booney steps to the plate. Well, you thought right, Larry. At least, I mean, it depends on the dice roll. If the dice roll comes up something different, then it looks like a bad move. So you're only as smart as the dice turn out. All right, here's Boone, 178, and that's a bloop single. So the runner on second had to hold and make sure it wasn't going to be caught. So it's runners on the corners with nobody out as Boone singles. So Martin with the double and Boone with the single. First and third, nobody out for Ted Sizemore. Infield, of course, has to come in. No options here at all. Bourbon to Sizemore, 231. And that's against a right-hander is a 5-3 ground out. The runner is holding with the infield in. So it's a 5-3 ground out. If I read it correctly, the out is to first. The runner on first will go to second. Runner on third holds. That's the way I'm playing it. Hopefully that's correct. The result was a 5-3 under normal conditions with runners at the corners, infield in. So to me, the runner on third holds and the runner on first will take second, with the only play being to first base. If that is incorrect, somebody chime in. If not, I'm going to keep going. Because now we need a pinch hitter for Reed. They will bring in a pinch hitter for Reed. And then they'll bring in Tug McGraw to finish the deal. You got to believe. So looking at the Phillies bench, Tim Carver did pinch hit real world, so he's certainly an option. So is Bake McBride, 269 hitter. So I think we're going to go with Bake McBride. Bake McBride will pinch hit. First base is open. They could walk Bake McBride. That's a possible strategy as well. Intentional walk McBride. Okay, we're going to walk McBride. So that loads the bases. Sets up a force at any base. And due up is Gary Maddox. Gary Maddox. I've heard it pronounced Maddox and Maddox. I always called him Maddox. I'm assuming it's Maddox. But you know what happens when you assume. All right. Now, Brian B., are we doing double play? Okay, I was assuming you were going to do double play depth, but I wasn't sure. So double play depth, he does have there are a couple double plays on Bourbon's card. There's one double play there. There's a line out double play here. So there's a double play chance there. So there's plenty of double play chances. See what Bourbon does. 339 non-split. Fly ball deep to right field. That'll be a sacrifice fly. The runner on second will take third. And the Phillies get an extra run on the sacrifice fly off the bat of Gary Maddox. Scoring is Martin. Boone takes third. There are now 2 outs. But an all-important insurance run makes the score 5-2. And Larry Boa is your batter. He got to that fly ball to deep right field. All right. That will bring up Larry Boa. 584 should be okay for Morgan. I think he can handle that play. Little Joe should be okay with this. 584. I'm sorry. Yeah, 584. Oh, what am I doing? That's center fielder. It's Geronimo. I don't know what I was thinking. 584. Geronimo handles it as well. Fly ball to center, and that's going to end the inning. But an insurance run comes across the plate. So for Bourbon in the ninth, he's going to go 1 inning, 2 hits and a run, a walk that was intentional, and no strikeouts. So I've got the Phillies for 5 runs on 8 hits so far. Ron Reed came in and pitched a third of an inning. He only faced one. He intentionally walked bench and struck out Concepcion. So he went a third of an inning, giving up nothing, an intentional walk and a strikeout. And now coming on for the save is Tug McGraw. The Tugger set to face Geronimo, Lum, and Rose. Those are the scheduled hitters. As Brian B. said, the Reds bench is kind of meh. So the pitcher spot comes up fourth, and Junior Kennedy has picked up a bat and is loosening in the clubhouse underneath the stands and getting ready to possibly take a swing if the Reds can make it that far in the order. It's Geronimo, Lum, and Rose, 2 lefties and a switch. So Geronimo will lead it off. 5-2 Phillies, bottom of the ninth. 582, that's an easy play for Gary Maddox on that blue 2. It is simply a fly to center. Nothing crazy there, just a routine can of corn for out number 1. Brings up Mike Lum. McGraw, 403 against a lefty. That'll be a walk for Mike Lum. So Lum walks. That's what the Reds need, are base runners. That'll bring up Rose, and on deck is Junior Kennedy. Barring a double play, Kennedy will hit. 412 against a left-hander. But guess what? We got a 4-3 double play hit into by Pete Rose, and that's going to end the ball game. So Kennedy does not get the chance to hit. There's your ball game. Pete Rose hits into the 4-6-3 double, or 4 unassisted double play. 4 unassisted 4-3 double play, to be technically correct. And there's your ball game. McGraw will get the save. The win goes to Cott. Loss to Sarmiento. Get the totals for both teams in just a second as soon as I finish marking all these up. But these are unofficial totals. Phillies, 5. I've got them for 5 runs on 8 hits and no errors. I've got the Reds for 2 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error. That error being on Sarmiento on a pickoff throw. And I believe that's going to do it for this one. That's the messy score sheet of mine. So that's what I've got going on there for all of that. 5-2. Phillies get the win over the Reds. Much better game than last week when it was 20-0. So, and of course, a National League game was much preferable. Can't really have all these double switches and strategies if you're using the DH. So I prefer non-DH, and fortunately, the way the NBC Game of the Week schedule comes out, in case you missed it earlier, these are the August games that are upcoming, and these are courtesy of NBC. This is the games they picked, so we're going to follow them. Next week in San Francisco, it's the Dodgers and the Giants. Then we'll be seeing the Phillies again, but this time back at home, taking on the Pirates. Then the Mets will host the Dodgers on the 19th, and finally on the 26th, we're back to the American League for the Angels and the Red Sox. So that's what's upcoming on the season ticket baseball front. Do appreciate everybody who tuned in and participated and helped me out with the rules, especially Clay. Appreciate you definitely being here, and Captain, both of you guys that are really good at this game, or experts at this game, whatever you want to call it. Know your onions on this game and keep me straight on the rules. I think if I actually sat down and played this game like over and over and over instead of just once a week, I'd probably get a lot better at it. So maybe that's a goal down the road to do something, a small replay of some sort. With 78, the possibility there is always doing a Ron Guidry replay, and that might be enough to get me more familiarized with the game and more comfortable with the game if I do it over and over and over. But that would be way after this project is done. I want to finish this project first. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So that's going to do it from here, from Veterans Stadium. I'm sorry, from Riverfront Stadium, not Veterans Stadium. Riverfront Stadium. It is the Reds falling. Reds falling to the Phillies by the score of 5-2. Winning pitcher Jim Cott in relief, loser Sarmiento, and Tug McGraw gets the save. Next Saturday at noon, it'll be the West Coast taking center stage as we have the Dodgers playing the Giants. And let me see if I can pull up the pitching matchup for that one. Checking my sources here for that game on August the 5th, 1978. There we go. Looks like Ed Halicki against Bob Welch. And interestingly enough, both of them pitched complete games. They both went 9 innings. Dodgers won it 2-0 real world. But both pitchers pitched complete games. Interesting how that happened. They played that game in 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's still kind of a long game for 1978 with no pitching changes and such few runs. But that's just the way it worked out. So that's the matchup, Ed Halicki and a very young Bob Welch. They will be the starters in next week's NBC Game of the Week. Brian B., I will finish it eventually. It's just, for some reason, right now, I keep wanting to play it, but I don't want to intersect with Robert doing his games, but his games finish so late. I really don't like to be playing that late at night. So I may end up recording it maybe and showing it some other time, or maybe I'll play it this later this afternoon before Robert gets going. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe tonight's a good time to do something like that because I really want to finish that up, Sparky Bowl, and get that done. Reds lead 3-1. I'm assuming it's just a matter of, inevitable. I can't even say it right. I can't even say it. I'm tongue tied. It's inevitable, put it that way. I was trying to think of inevitable. Boy, I'm just not even going to talk right because it's just embarrassing. I'm trying to do inevitable with an LE at the end of it, and my mind I can't process it. So anyway, that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend wherever you are. I don't know about where you are, but where I am, yeah, Sunday I can try to do it. I don't know what time Robert's going to, if he doesn't start till 8 o'clock, though, that makes it really, really late because by the time he does his ticker and everything, it's close to 9:30. And even though I'm retired, I still don't like to be playing games that late. The wife goes to bed a little early, so I really don't want to mess up her schedule. She has to get up early in the morning, so I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll get done at some point. I just don't know when. But anyway, thank you all for spending part of your Saturday with me. As I was about to say, the heat wave, at least here, has rescinded, as it was in the upper 70s for a high yesterday, and the high all week long is supposed to be in the very, very low 80s with dropped humidity, which is a relief from the 110 heat index we've been having for most of July. I mean, July was a smoker, at least here in the mid-Atlantic. I don't know where it is in the rest of the country, but we're at least getting a slight break from that right now. So I'll be able to do some stuff out in the yard finally for a change. So, but yeah, we'll get that Sparky Bowl game done. I just don't know about the 77 because I want to kind of maybe reduce the focus on other games. I'll keep the season ticket for the game of the week, and I'll keep the at least for now, I'll keep the Fun Day Friday. But everything else, yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking out for those. I went out there to where their underground nest was. I went out there the other day, pulled back a piece of brick that they were hiding under, and I didn't see them. Doesn't mean they weren't further underground, but I didn't see any flying around. And what I'll probably do is take my mower, my push mower, and get over in that area just to make a little disturbance, but be on the lookout. And now I don't want to wait that long, Brian, because that would just I'd forget everything that was happening there. I just probably need a little break from it, from inside pitch for a while, and then I'll come back strong. Maybe when RJL finishes his season, maybe that's when I'll pick it up. When he has his little break where he's not playing any inside pitch games for a while, maybe that's when I'll do it. But yeah, I'm gonna take my mower out there and get close to where their nest was, and be on the lookout. So if I see any flying around, I'll have time to run away. If not, maybe they've moved on, or the spray I sprayed down there, maybe it got them all. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But this time of year, insects are definitely going to be, a thing to deal with. So at least it's not murder hornets, like they were thinking about the apocalypse. Every year you turn around, they bring up murder hornets or something. So there's always an apocalyptic event that's going to happen. It's going to wipe out humanity. So yeah, they aren't fun. I can tell you that. They are not fun, and it's not like bees. I mean, they can sting multiple. They can bite and they can sting multiple times. So, and their disposition is not exactly friendly. So, I mean, I don't think they go out of their way to get you, but if you disturb them, even unexpectedly, you got to watch out. So, all right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get some honeydew stuff done now that I've got this game out of the way. I've got some things I need to get done that I'm retired. I could do them all week long, but there's certain things I do on Saturdays, like going to the landfill to take our trash. It's just easier to do it on a Saturday than anything else. Probably cut the grass on Monday. We had some rain last night, so the grass is still a little bit of wet, and it's gonna be nice on Monday, so I'll probably do it Monday around lunch, Monday afternoon or something like that. I don't know, but that's gonna do it from here. Again, thank you all for watching the NBC Game of the Week. On the channel coming up, hopefully Sparky Bowl game might be tomorrow night. Don't know if I'll do anything else today or not. If I do anything at all, it'll be Stratomatic, and it'll be Cleveland and Chicago, 1987 Stratomatic. The next game scheduled, game number 228 on the replay, is Cleveland and Chicago. It's Tom Cotton Candy Oddie, the knuckleballer. So that's going to do it from here for the season ticket for the NBC Game of the Week. Until next Saturday for the NBC Game of the Week in San Francisco, where we see Bob Welch against Ed Halicki. Tabby's downstairs resting. She really hasn't had any desire to come up here in quite some time. I think she's getting older, and it's a little bit harder to get up the steps for her. So I think we may have seen the last of Tabby on live streams interrupting me. I might take pictures of her or whatever, but I think her days of jumping up on the table and disturbing the games are probably in the past tense right now, because it's just she's about 13 years old, so she can move around, but she's not as limber and mobile as she used to be or doesn't desire to be. So anyway, that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great Saturday, whatever you got going on. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.